Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. So in today's video we're going to be talking about Dyspo. We had a video on Topo recently as one of the EZAs for the Universe 11 units, and now we're going to talk about Dyspo. So Dyspo is now one of the better options for Universe 11, but his EZA was probably very different in substance compared to Topo. It's definitely designed for longer events, I want to say, because you're only going to really see the best of him from around about turn 5 or 6. He's definitely not as diverse in terms of team build as Topo. He's definitely more of a main rotation unit. He's a unit that likes to be out often. He needs to build up his evasion, he needs to build up his defense and attack stacks, and he can become very impressive offensively, but the problem being that he gets there just seems to me a little bit too late, which makes him very difficult to run for SBR content or shorter content. He is a decent option though for mid to long term content, things like Infinite Dragon Ball history stages or even the legendary Goku event. He should be fine in those events, especially if you have 1 or 2 dupes in him, but I would say in terms of shorter events or Dokkan events or SBR content, not that he won't work. I think he will work. In fact, I even think I'll probably do a video of him in extreme SBR agility, but it's gonna be quite luck dependent, because you're gonna want him to appear in first slot. In first turn, you're gonna want to run him in second slot. You're gonna need him to trigger 20 and 40% evasions until he stacks, and then eventually he's going to really help you out. But in the current extreme SBR stages, the top ones, he's just not there yet in terms of his design. So just to talk about Dyspo for a second, he basically stacks attack every single turn. He builds up his evasion from 20% to 40% to 60%, and he builds up attack and defense, greatly stacking them for 6 turns on his super attack. So essentially how Dyspo works is basically after the first turn he should have supered, which will build up stacks, giving him relatively decent defense, which means his second turn with his 40% evasion and his improved defense should be much better. And then obviously once he supers once more, he will be sitting with another stack, which will then enable him, once he gets his 60% defense, to be sitting in a relatively high stack and a relatively high amount of evasion. However, the problem with this being is that even if you get him in turn 1, that means the earliest you're going to get his full defensive capabilities is turn 5. In terms of Dyspo, I think the way he could have just been slightly better is if they maybe added a seal to his attack. I think that would have made him perfectly viable, because it would have at least allowed him to prevent super attacks and allow you to run him more as a floater, or even if he's in main rotation, it would have at least allowed him to provide just a bit of mitigation when the evasion's not fully built up. 60% evasion is good. It's very impressive. I think it's a good number, but yeah, it's definitely not the best in terms of, evasion amounts, especially when it starts at 20%. You're getting units that come out with 60% evasion now. I know they're very powerful, but I think he could have at least maybe started at 40 and ended at 70 or something, stacking at 15% a turn. That might have been better. It might have helped him out just a little bit more. But overall, he's still a good unit. I definitely think you can use him in SBR. He's just not maybe a unit that's going to help you know how to run the SBR or cream it, or really just push you to a new limit in that SBR. So here we can see what we're going to do is basically we're going to stick Topo and the Universe 11 unit on a single rotation. Dyspo's got a decent kit in terms of linking. He links decently with the Topos, the Int and the Strength one. He links okay with Jiren. I wouldn't say he is the world's best linker with Jiren, but he definitely gets 3 or 4 links with him. And then he links pretty well even with units like Hit. Anything with Tournament of Power, obviously he's going to get the key, and that's the most important thing when some of these units are concerned. It's just getting that key so that they super. So that is his one benefit. Obviously he can be run on most of the Universe Survival Saga teams, but you're really going to basically want to run him with a Topo or a Jiren in main rotation, and then you're going to want to run either another Topo and this Universe 11 card. He will obviously shine best on Universe 11 card, like most of them do, because they'll have the 170% lead from the Jiren. So yeah, as you can see right now, he's linked with Hit, and he gets 4 links, so that's a good linking partner for him, and he gets 5 links with Jiren. So Hit and Jiren, good options. Hit himself is not necessarily the world's greatest card, but nowadays you never know with all the EZAs and everything coming out, which I'll do another video on because that's quite big news. But yeah, you can see his link set here. It's pretty impressive. It's really not bad. It's not a bad link set. There's quite a bit of defense you could also gain in there, and a bit of attack. So he's got a good link set, and he links well with a couple members on the squad you're going to use him for. I mean, the only problem that he has right now is that he doesn't necessarily have the best agility linking partners, so running him in the monotype SBRs might be a bit difficult. You would have to run him with like a Krillin or something. So there you can see EZA 900k. Now I know that there's no support, and I know he hasn't built up any attack stacks, but just under 1 million with 5 links, even with no relatively large scale link leveling, it's just not. It's not helpful. It's just very strange. Like with most ECAs, they usually niche the units, like they make them excel at certain content. And Dyspo is designed for long events, but it's just a little bit strange because the way his whole kit works means that he gets to like an acceptable point for long events, but I would never say he gets to being. He's not like the long event killer. He's not like the ultimate card for long events or something. So it's just interesting to note. I definitely think he's less useful than Topo, but I wouldn't say he's a bad card. I don't think any EZA is strictly bad. Even stuff like the old Strength Broly and all that. I mean, they're like super helpful, and they still can do and help with content. So don't ever think they're bad, personally. So I mean, yeah, I just think he has less utility than Topo, which unfortunately, as an EZA and as a kind of secular card Universe 11 is with its limited categories, he's just not as impressive. That's probably the best way to say it. If he had more categories or something, or could be run as a floater, then definitely he would be looking good. But yeah, so here we have 6 links activated with him, which is really, really good. And he's got 90k defense, which is really getting there. I'm not going to say it's excellent when you have super buff cards with more than that out first turn, but 90k is good, considering the fact that he has 40% evasion. So you can see straight away on the second turn, I know we have support here, but you can see straight away on the second turn that he is leaning towards being a more impressive unit. Like straight away, that 40% evasion, 90k defense, he's just looking more solid, way more presentable, way more efficient. He's on it. We'll see his attacks at 1.4. So again, also nothing like rocking our world. It's not 3-4 million or something crazy like that, like the Kid Buu and all that. But 1.4 is getting there. Jiren's doing 2.1. So yeah, like he definitely, like, as the turns go on, he will be more impressive. Remember, he's greatly stacking his defense there, so his defense after Super won't even be 90k. He'll have like 115k with 40% evasion, which is really, really good. That's a good defensive card. That's a solid rotation card, and I mean it's turn 3, so it's not that bad. But it's just the manner of getting there. In events that hit hard out at the gate, he could be a liability. You're probably going to need to use an item, preferably a Ghost Usher, preferably your strongest damage mitigation. You look at Hit, who will have similar defense to that first round Dyspo. He's taking 70k here. He's getting hit hard. So yeah, it's interesting to say the least. But I still think overall you have a good option here. I think he's definitely a card to keep a lookout on. And yeah, we just died from Hit, but that's okay. We'll skip to seeing how he performs in a longer form event. So that was a Dokkan event. I think that was okay. Obviously a bit different to SBR, where I'll put him and Toppo in the same team and probably just run an SBR to show them both off. But yeah, it was a good showing. His second turn was definitely way more impressive than his first turn, even though he was obviously more adequately set up. But it was more impressive, and I think it shows a sign of what I see here in this longer form event. That he definitely takes the time, but he can show out a little bit. He can get nice and impressive. And I wouldn't say he's not bad in long events at all. He's a good card for long events. He's just, I think, a bit, compared to Toppo's utility, just to how singular he is, being on like Special Forces Universe 11. Like, we don't have many Special Force Universe 11 challenges yet. We'll be very thankful for him when we do, but I think it just diminishes his worth right now. It's like getting a card that's got 2 categories as DFE. It's cool, but it's not, it's not how we want it. So there's 60k defense first turn with support with 6 links. Links aren't leveled, so that could definitely go up higher, considering his links and everything like that, but it's still pretty good. From that aspect. Then we'll take a look at how he does next to Jiren. So Jiren's getting some good attack stats, by the way. I think this Jiren has 2 dupes, and 2.1 is really nice on him. He also doesn't have many links. So you can see this rotation at 1.2. So you can see this rotation definitely can work as a rotation, especially after like turn 2. So after this turn, when they come back on turn 4, definitely could be a much more impressive rotation, where they'll have a bit more defense, a bit more damage, a bit more evasion, and with Jiren always popping in almost stunning, it could definitely be good. And the amount of links they have is also very good, so yeah, I think that's a good rotation for him. I think linking him with Toppo is also pretty decent, but overall I think you could link him with Jiren. It's a shame we don't currently have a decent agility option, like I said, because it's going to limit him on things like Extreme SBR, but we'll give it a go and see what we can come up with him, and see what we can kind of get him to perform at, and what level we can get him to perform at. We'll definitely look at him in category SBR, and then in category Extreme SBR, which isn't out yet. I don't think there's a stage he can really run or would even be remotely first choice on, so we will definitely see. But as we take a look here, so this is like his perfect linking situation. We're just checking if we get any more bonus links from Toppo. We don't, so we'll gladly put him up first. It'll be nice to see him evade an attack or something. Obviously he has 40% evasion here, which is good. We should hopefully see him dodge 1 attack, and then his defense will skyrocket again. So 1.5, so you can definitely see you can get him much higher than that 900k, which seems more like the anomaly, especially if you link level him and stuff. So yeah, but there's Jiren with a nice 2.4. So yeah, it's just, with a unit that gets an EZA, like you see this Jiren next to him, it's got the same amount of dupes, and Jiren's just pumping out more damage. Toppo's pumping out more damage. The next time we see this unit will be turn 6. Most SBR are done or entering the final phase, then like he'll be great to clean up the final stage, and possibly maybe decent as a floater, but as a first option I just can't see it really happening unless you go for a Universe 11 team where the category units are so limited. Like I said, I think a seal really would have just made the unit better in general. I know most long events like negate sealing eventually after a while and all that, but like I said, he performs well enough in long events as is. If you give him a seal, his utility for shorter events goes up, and his liability being on main rotation is not so damaging as being on floater. So there you can see 140k, 140 something k. So this is very good. He's now entered the zone where he's starting to really show out and look impressive. It is turn 6, but I mean, he's now got 60% evasion. He's got 148k defense. That is good. That's really impressive, considering the fact that he still has link leveling to go. He still has this. That number could easily rise to, 160 by this stage with 2 dupes. If you just level all the links, it'll be close to 160, and his attack stat will follow suit. His attack stat will increase So there we get our first evasion, 1.8 mil. So starting to look like a top usable unit now. There's Jiren coming in hard. No attack buffs there, so that's just a flexing 1.8. So again, it's just more how we're still at what, turn 6, and he's only just hit the levels of being the same as the DFE Jiren. Now I know Jiren is obviously clearly designed for shorter events / quite old and aged, but has a decent passive, but it's still just not the most conducive situation. So yeah, we'll show out again. We'll have him get an attack stat here. So now his evasion's fully built up, so once it's 60%, it's basically done. In terms of how to build him, I went and did additionals due to how his stacking works and everything. Getting that extra additional here or there will keep his defense at a substantially higher level than it would without the additionals. And his damage right in the beginning isn't high enough for me to warrant putting crit on. Like, I mean, a 900 or 1.x million crit's not really going to help. So there you can see we're getting close to breaking the 2 million barrier mark, which is very, very good. We're getting dodges now. So immediately Dyspo is looking like a usable character, and you can tell. I mean, as this fight's getting longer, he's just getting more and more impressive. He's not like laying the team down, he's just improving and getting better as time goes on, which is good. But yeah, it's the amount of time that he takes to get there that's not entirely the most impressive factor about him. But as you can see, we're really starting to get some decent attack numbers now. Things higher than Jiren, more impressive than Jiren's, and his defense again is just getting more and more impressive. Like I said, he stacks 50% on his attack, so when he's stacking 50% for 6 turns, it's basically just going to act as a high enough stacking mechanic that he should hit very solid defensive numbers. I mean, after his final stack on his super attack, he should be sitting close to almost 200k, which will be enough for almost any event, plus a 60% evasion. So here we should see a pretty decent attack stat from him. We won't see his highest one, we'll probably see that last, but yeah, we'll see something very impressive here linked with Jiren. Quite a bit of defensive support on rotation, but you can see his dodge there, 60%, so it's really kicking in. 2.4 mil, nice number, good attack stat. Not fully level linked, not 4 dupes rainbow, not with the best equipment on. So I mean, you ran with this guy, you level his links, you stick some good equipment on there, some additional equipment on there, maybe some attack equipment or just a little bit more crit, just give him the better odd chance at critting. Probably will see him easily near the 4 millions, definitely above 3 for sure, and probably earlier in the fight, because the stacking mechanic's really what's going to determine his rapid growth, more so than the attack stat that he gains each turn. So we will see his best attack here now. We're going to make Topo attack first to get the SA buff, and then we're going to have him attack in second slot. We'll finish the video here, but overall I think my thoughts on Dyspo are that he is a solid unit, he's a decent unit to have. He fills out the Universe 11 category, and if you're absolutely desperate to run that as a single team, you're going to need Dyspo. But yeah, I think for long events he's a good unit. I think he could have a niche filling in some of the shorter, harder events if you are low on units and you really need him to come in and do some work. It may just require a bit of items or RNG to get him going, but once he gets going, he is definitely an impressive unit. So we got the double attack with Topo, which is good. It's going to double buff his SA. He'll definitely be above 3 mil here. There, 3.2. Again, link leveling, not really done. Equipment, not really tops. So he could definitely cross the 4 mil threshold. So he's a good unit. And I think, yeah, that's reflected here. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps you with Dyspo and just whether you want to put the effort into him or the orbs all the time. And thanks, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers and bye. Hope you enjoyed this one. See you next time.